Hello, it's me. I'm a mess, and I'm Navanel. But so keep trying to film this, but I keep wanting to get back into doing my unpacking my sacred process videos. But it's been really a challenge because so much of what I'd like to share with people and things I think could be beneficial and all of that, it's so difficult because I don't know how to get the background out there of what I'm dealing with. Because I'm in this purgatory of being in between, I guess you could say, in between that point where everything's falling apart and you actually get answers. I've just been trapped here, like no real clear diagnosis on anything, no real clear information. I've been told I have all kinds of different little things, but everybody keeps saying those little things aren't that big of a deal. They're not important. They're not part of this. Or actually, they're not even giving me that much. They just keep telling me I'm not concerned about it. But, anyways, trying to stay on point. When I start talking about medical stuff, it gets really emotional for me because my experiences have been like hell. Um, Part of my issues have been cognitive. Um, it's really not clear because nobody listens to me and understands what I'm saying. Um, when if when it that part of it began, because I've always had issues cognitively a little bit with communication and um, just some stuff. Um, but recently, I had a little over a year ago, at the start of all of this, I had a fall that was because it was during COVID. It was kind of like I made a phone call to a doctor. They said, "You're probably fine," and then obviously a little while later, I wasn't, and found out some other stuff. But I'll try. What I will try to do is do a separate thing under that outlines more clearly, like with where I'm writing it, drawing it. This is the stuff that's going on physically, but um, in this process, it was unclear if the more severe cognitive things that have come up were a result of the fall or if they were result of the. I had found out at that point that that I'd had anemia for well over a year and nobody had told me, even though it had showed up on a blood test. And so if it was related to that, there's just a lot of things that are really unclear where the um, escalation in the cognitive function came in. And to be clear, there are some issues that are going on that I've been being treated for ADHD for several years, and before that, have been through mental health systems that have constantly just not known what to do with me. And I've honestly, at this point in time, as the escalation in stress and physical pain and other problems have kind of brought things, brought my ability to cope down a lot, maybe. I don't know. It's looking to me like one of the possibilities that will be the next one to be explored is whether or not my ADHD is not ADHD and is actually something more along the lines of autism spectrum disorder, which is a spectrum because I'm not. There's a range, I know, but the difficult thing is that um, in this process, early on in my life, I know I'm going all over the place, but my brain just works like this right now. I'm sorry. But early on in my life, I had issues, a lot of issues with mental health. They kept thinking it was anxiety, but anxiety medicine made it worse. And so just this whole big mess of stuff. And I got to a point where I really did do a lot of cognitive behavioral therapy and I learned how to cope. And the thing is, when you learn coping skills and you learn how to like function in a group of people, which was like, I could be there and not be completely like going berserk most of the time. It wasn't like I was thriving exactly. But you can learn to kind of fly under the radar with stuff. But sometimes that's a problem because there are things that need to be on the radar. And for me, the way that I have functioned for most of my life is to have extremely, um, I have patterns of behavior that I get kind of locked into. Like I need my routine. I have to do this. I have to do this. I eat the same thing every day. I wear the same things. I do these same things. And when they change, I can't function. Like it's embarrassing. Sometimes at some point it's embarrassing to some extent, but I do know how to laugh at myself about it. But and on a better day, I will do a funnier video about it and laugh at myself and invite you to laugh with me. But right now I'm just trying to get this first video out here because until I get this out there, I don't know how to get the other ones out there. Um, but And I know this is getting so long, and I'm sorry. My brain is such a mess on this subject. Um, but so, with people at my age, when people start considering things like ASD or autism spectrum disorder, um, what has happened is throughout your life, you learn what's called masking. Um, and it's like the ways that we learn to behave using like willpower, like, I'm not going to say that weird thing. I'm not going to do that weird thing. I'm not going to go places so that people don't see me doing the weird things, that kind of stuff. And we do learn how to overanalyze people, I think. Like, so we start to figure out a pattern of, okay, this is how I need to behave here. And, it's just complicated because I don't even understand it. And I don't even know if that's the right diagnosis at this point or not. But because I've been going through, because of the change in my mental status, I would call it, I've been going through unmasking. And a lot of the things that I've been keeping down with my, what do they call it, like white knuckling, like just forcing things down for a long time. Suddenly I couldn't do that anymore. And so things are coming up and I'm going, oh yeah, I remember. This is a little weird, but I know I'm off topic. Anyway, throughout this whole process, I've been having a lot of issues with the mental health, with that side of things and coping and being clear and getting super sensory overload. But I'm also having a lot of physical problems, and those physical problems can be really overwhelming just by themselves. I have this problem with my collarbone. It's still very unclear what it is because of reasons, but whatever is going on with my neck, it's more than one thing. It actually gets to the point where it's pulling up my first rib, and which causes excruciating pain, like all through here, all through my chest, through my back, just like radiating pain everywhere when it's at its worst. And then I have a lot of issues with my just sharp pains all throughout my stomach and through, like just really searing pains that don't, and not just my stomach, but like my whole torso, I guess, like up near my kidneys and stuff too, and just all kinds of crazy things that, again, I'll do a separate thing on physical pain. Shut up, Evan. I'll get back on the original topic. So as I've been going in to try and get some help medically, the first thing I try to explain is I'm having a lot of trouble communicating. And I'm having a lot of trouble communicating clearly, and I'm having a lot of trouble remembering what's important to communicate. And they don't really care about that symptom. and they want to know what the problems are. And so then I will go in and try to talk about these problems, and I get like maybe 10 to 15 minutes with them. And when I'm done or when I've communicated things, there's a way of interacting where it becomes very much like I lose any position of being able to, like, somehow they're talking down to me in a way that makes it hard for me to make sure I understand what they've said and clarify that they've understood me. And so basically what happens is I go into an appointment, I can't communicate. The information they need is in this part of my brain that can't get out very easily. And it's like being trapped in my own body, trying to talk to the person that can maybe help me, but I can't speak. And so they just look at me and then they make a couple guesses. And it's been the most frustrating and disheartening experience possibly of my life. And I guess I'm just trying to put that out there to be able to now, as I want to make them shorter for one, but as I go through the process of unpacking my sacred process, to give a little bit of background on what's going on. Because I guess because I have, part of me needs to feel like going through this can somehow be helpful to somebody, because then it's worth it. You know, like when you go through these kind of things and you feel like it's for no reason, it's even worse. But if your pain has a purpose, I can give you that a little bit of strength to push through it. And so I want to be able to make these videos, and I really will do my best to keep them as lighthearted as possible, because I know that if there's other people going through this kind of struggle, we need more lighthearted. It's hard. And it's so precarious, like it doesn't take much to bump me back into the abyss, you know? And so I don't want them to be all emotional and sad like this, because a lot of the things I've learned and a lot of things I've been through, there is a lot of good in it too, and there's possibilities and everything, but there are just some things that need to be addressed. And again, my next one that will be a little bit difficult to get through also will be trying to lay out a little bit more about the actual physical, mental symptoms that I've been dealing with. And it's not just to like give a huge list of things specifically, but like to just understand some of the things that are going on. Not just because I know it's not just me dealing with some of these things. Maybe this particular combination is mine, but I think there's a lot of people dealing with these different things that really currently the medical systems are not able to address and are actually causing further damage. And but I will try and lay that out. And that one I intend to do more of like drawing it out, like, because there's just too much to keep track of. But anyways, I don't know how clear this was, because when I start talking about this stuff, I can't even, like, my brain just is, I just can't. But you know what? I did it. And it's done now, so well done.